Welcome. The beauty before you. When you are looking at a sunset and are in contact with the beauty of nature, practice mindful breathing. Touch deeply the beauty that is before you. I am breathing in. What happiness. I'm breathing out. The sunset is lovely. Continue that way for a few minutes, getting in touch with the beauty of nature makes life much more beautiful, much more real. Look at a leaf or a flower with mindfulness. Listen to the song of a bird, and you will get much more deeply in touch with them. After a minute of this practice, your joy will increase. Your breathing will become deeper and more gentle. And this gentleness and depth will influence your body. Welcome. I want to welcome you into Power of Pure Presence. My name's Austin J. Haynes. I'm your host. This is episode number 15. And I am so humbled and excited at the same time to bring today's show to you for lots of reasons. But before I get into any of that, I want to just reference that this reading was from the author Thich Nhat Hanh. And he was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk who practiced presence, love, and peace. And during the Vietnam War, he was even exiled from his own country for his practices and his beliefs on peace. So he was exiled for many years. And he's written about and practiced the art of peace, stillness, inner peace for a lifetime. And he just recently passed away within the past few years. And he left behind these beautiful writings and perceptions about life and how we can be more in touch and in tune with that. And so as we open up today, I want to welcome you in. And I'm going to talk about breath more as we do this. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can get a view of this particular place and trust what shows up. And I want you to, I'm just going to walk you through some breath. You're welcome to leave your eyes open for a bit. You're welcome to close your eyes. This is a beautiful place. I'll get into the destination of where I am and the power of nature, the power of the sun, the power of salt water, the sea, the sand, and the beautiful surrounding here. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I want to welcome you to begin to find your breath this morning. Begin to breathe in through your nose. See if you can pause at the top of the breath. See if you can exhale through your nose as well. Perhaps you just want to watch the waves and the sun glistening. I'm going to pause for the next couple minutes, and I just want you to find your breath, whatever that is for you. You can breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Or you can just simply pay attention. If you decide to participate in the breathing exercise. Be conscious, let your belly expand. A lot of times when we breathe, we don't let our belly expand. We are contracted, if you will. So think with each breath, there's just a relaxation, a soothing energy just coming over your body. Each deep, elongated breath, there's more and more calm that's coming over you. This will be my last prompt, and then I'm going to be quiet for a couple minutes. And if your mind is kicking up, your thoughts are racing, just allow those thoughts. Just like these waves are coming in, no wave stays permanent. It comes in, it crashes, it recedes back into the ocean. Let every thought in this moment be a pass-through. And through each breath is a call, an invitation, a subtle invitation to stillness. So let's do one more deep breath here together. Pause. Exhale. Your choice, eyes open or closed. Just allow yourself the gift of deep, conscious breathing at your own pace. I want to begin to welcome you back in to this moment with me. You see the activities unfolding here. Welcome. It's an honor to be with you today and celebrate this show and living in the moment. This is Barnegat Light State Park. It's in Long Beach Island, New Jersey. It's an incredible place. I'm at the point where the ocean and the bay, the inlet, intersect. If you looked out, you saw the ocean, you see the jetty or the rocks, and it goes into the inlet behind me, and then you see the lighthouse here, which was a very significant throughout history as ships ran to and fro from New York Harbor. This lighthouse became a very important point in their journey because the way the tides and the waters flow here can be very treacherous with the shoals. So the lighthouse has a lot of history. It obviously turned into a park. It's registered in the New Jersey Coastal Registry as a significant area. And we're here, and I'm here today with you to bring it to you on this beautiful, beautiful day. Couldn't have planned it any better. And as we do, I want to welcome you into today's show, episode number 15. I titled this New Beginnings. New Beginnings. It is, at the time of this recording, it's October 15th. So I want to honor everybody that's listening live in the chat. I want to welcome you to type in where you're listening from, what part of the world you find yourself in. And I also want to welcome you in, regardless of what state you find yourself. You might be in a state of chaos. You're trying to make sense of what's happening in your life. It could be relationships, your situation. Maybe you're starting to find this presence. You're starting to find this opening where a new beginning can begin to take hold, take root. And while I'm on the beach, it is October. The seasons are changing. It is autumn. And this is a beautiful October day. And I am just honored to be able to take advantage of it with you. I want to speak about breath. I want to add more context to breath and what came to me as I prepared for today's show. And when I say prepared, these shows are unprepared, but I get downloads that I feel are important to share with you to add guidance along your journey. And I want to share this. Overthinking is not the way. Overthinking is not the way. Presence is the ability of no thinking in some respects. It's the ability to be fully immersed in the moment where life is happening. But why might we overthink? I was listening to a video from Eckhart Tolle answering a question about overthinking. And I'll hit on that point, and then I'll hit on something that I think is easier and in its very nature is non-thinking. It's getting there without trying to get there. It's the paradox. I want you to stay with me. Eckhart's answer to a woman who said, I can't seem to control my thinking. It never stops. And the answer was, the moment that you become aware that you're overthinking is the moment it can change. The moment that you become aware of your overthinking is or can be the moment of change. Here's how it can be the moment of change, and here's how it won't be the moment of change. Let's start with how it won't be the moment of change. When you realize you're overthinking, it won't become the moment of change by infusing it with negative energy. In other words, there I go again. I can never get this right. I'm running out of control. Something's wrong with me. That's how the moment of recognition is not the moment of change. How the moment of recognition or awareness is the moment of change is when you avoid the judgment. When you simply go, there it is. And a great practice would be to infuse the art of pausing and breathing as immediately following the moment of recognition. Why? Pausing and breathing allows the moment to unfold and enhances your ability to get out of the thinking mind. That's Eckhart's answer with Austin's interpretation, but I have more. The breath. Why does everybody say pause and breathe? Pause and breathe now. Take a breath. Let's get back to that breath. Okay. Power of the pause and the breath indirectly calms the thinking mind. Pause, conscious breath creates stillness and calms the thinking mind. Why? Why does it do that? So let's talk about a little bit of science and biochemistry, the biochemistry behind this. Most people operate, there's two different types of ways your nervous system can operate that we've studied thus far. Sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic, a better way to talk about sympathetic is fight, flight, or fright. I must, I have to, I gotta, I must, I have to, I gotta, I must, I have to, I gotta. And if you think about your own life, think about the myriad or the endless list of things that you have to do. The what ifs, the worrying of what could go wrong, the worrying about what could go wrong creates an obsessive, overthinking mind that is always trying to protect. Most of the world, most of the time, is operating in sympathetic mode. And this is why we become charged with this energy in our nervous systems to protect. It goes back to our earliest discovery of man, if you will, woman, being protected from the saber-toothed tiger outside the cave. Fight, flight, survival. It's survival mode. As we've evolved, most of our lives are not survival mode. And that ushers in the other way we can operate is parasympathetic. Rest, refresh, digest. And a lot of this I learned from Dr. George Grant. So if he's listening, I'll just give him a little credit. But when your nervous system is in parasympathetic mode, there's a calm. The body is in rhythm with nature. You're synchronized with your highest self. How does this connect to what we did? When you pause and breathe through the nose, in and out through the nose is ideal. Belly expands, which means the lungs fill to capacity. You're driving air down to the bottom of your lungs. And even a slight pause. I know there's all different kinds of breath work, but I like to keep things simple. What's happening is your body, your nervous system is entering parasympathetic mode, which indirectly calms the mind. And the overthinker begins to naturally dissolve through what Eckhart Tolle calls the inner body. When you breathe, you're focusing on your inner body. You're not focusing on the external, you're going internal, consciously, with intention. I should say intentionality. And you're allowing the body to calibrate. You're in your natural essence. And dare I say, you're connected to your truest self. And it's simple, and it's through stillness. So let's practice one more time here. I'm going to do it with you, just a few breaths. Pause and breathe. I'm glad you're with me today. I want to welcome you to type in the chat how you're feeling now. How are you feeling? We've talked about on the show many times that being in nature has this unbelievable effect on us, where through breath, nature, the natural things take over, the deeper part of ourselves. But I've shared also many times that even watching video of nature like this, hearing the sounds, has a similar effect. Reduces stress by 31%. And that's why I'm passionate about bringing this show to you with nature. To stay present, begin to add some stillness into your life. Find time to pause and breathe throughout the day. There are different types of breathing exercises that can bring you into the moment. For now, just breathe in and out through your nose. Breathe deep and allow your belly to expand so your lungs can fill to capacity. Pause and exhale through your nose, and then repeat. You will learn that it does not take much to usher stillness and presence into your life. One tip is to set up a timer or an alarm on your smartphone with the title Pause and Breathe. This is a great way to ensure you remember this simple and powerful exercise. At the time of this writing, many new smartwatches come pre-programmed with reminders for you to pause and breathe, and even reflect. If you are like me, you like things that are simple. Well, I'm excited to share that that is coming from my book called Flashpoint: Manifesting the Moment of Your Big Breakthrough. And in here, I write about get free, stay present, move forward. And this is the stay present portion that a little bit of this stay present portion that I read. And I want you to understand that the key is keep it simple. We typically make things complex in the brain when you're just one breath away from that connectedness And that's really what this show is. I'm not some master person on meditation or even mindfulness, but it doesn't need to be riddled with labels and complexity. It's the opposite of that. Well, it could be called a paradox. It could be called both simple and complex, but the simplicity is what we need to infuse into our complex lives. Would you agree? We want to make this simple, and that's what I'm doing here with these readings, and just to make it simple for you to be in the moment. What will you do this week? What will you do this week to add more presence into your life? Let's see if we can type something in the chat, or depending on where you're getting this, you could write it in a journal. What one thing will you do this week? I'm going to pause right now and just let's give ourselves the opportunity. I'm going to move the camera around a little bit because I want you to be able to see more. And I'm going to take a stand break, and I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsor. And I invite you to type in the chat if you're feeling this, if you're feeling the energy of this, if you're feeling the expansive nature of connecting internally and how you can expand from there. So I'm going to stand. Then I have some more readings for you. We'll get your shares in the comment there. Even though this is recorded, we're involved real time. So your shares are going to come up on the screen. We're going to give a shout out to our sponsor, and we're going to keep developing this ability to be present, to have content and be comfortable with no content. And that's where the fluidity and the magic of life happens. And we practice it here through the power of pure presence. That's what we're doing. That's what you're doing right now. So I honor you. So let's take a moment. I invite you to do whatever feels good. If you just want to look around here, you want to close your eyes, you want to practice that nose breathing. Just give yourself this gift this morning. Will you give yourself the gift? Or is your mind racing? Be aware. All right, here we go. notice how you're feeling as you're taking this environment in. Notice the calming effects. I'm going to relocate for this second part of the show here. You can see some ocean in the background. Set up here. Let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Duchess DJ Love. Let's grab something here. So Duchess DJ Love has a brand, Gallivanting Like a Royal, and she travels all over and really brings presence through her travel. And we talk about this on the show. And if most of the people who hear this like to travel. And what happens when you travel? Think about when you travel. What happens when you go to a new destination? There's this natural pull where you observe everything that's happening in your environment. You're just kind of pulled into it. You're excited. You're looking around. And DJ has a book called Travel Tude. She just released it. There it is here. And it's a 30-day trip tips gratitude devotional. It's great. She spotlights these locations that she's been to, along with photos she's taken. And then there's a reflective part. You can reflect. There's quotes. It's a great little book infused with a lot of great stuff to pull you into travel if you like travel. Maybe you already love travel. This can enhance it. Or maybe you're like, I want to travel more. Like maybe you've been telling yourself, and that pull to travel more has been tugging at you. This will inspire you, definitely. And I love the fact that she travels like a royal. It's a nice way to say, well, I can still travel like a royal even if I'm on a budget. And that's what DJ Duchess Love does through her work. So we're so glad to have her as a sponsor of Power Pure Presence. It's what we embody here, and just so glad to have that. Now, there were some other things I wanted to share. But before I move forward, I want to talk about new beginnings, and then I have some other readings for you. New beginnings. Like what I wanted to talk about today is where does a new beginning come from? And it doesn't come from overthinking. You're not going to sit and overthink yourself into a new beginning. Think about this. Most of you have already tried that. You're in a life situation and you're thinking, 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 more thinking, thinking, thinking. And the brain seems to run away with thoughts, 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 thoughts. But there's not a whole lot that's changing. How do we create new beginnings? This is why the power of pure presence is so important. New beginnings often come in the vacuum, in the void, not in the obsessive thinking mind. It's the moments in between the moments. It's the pause at the top and the bottom of each breath. Have I lost you, or are you still with me? Here's what I want to share. This is both simple and profound. My transformation, while there are many components to it, My transformation continues in the vacuum of thinking, the void, the spacious void that seems insignificant, but is infinite in its own right. I know this is like, well, how's this? What are you talking about? All right, let me bring this let me bring it to a better way to say it. We've all heard the term the still small voice. A still small voice. What are the key words? Still. We talked about stillness. We talked about breath. We talked about the vacuum of thinking. We talked about void of thinking. And we talked about space, stillness. Still small voice. Small voice? Well, maybe we could use the word quiet. Subtle. That seems to rise up from some deeper place. Voice. Is it a voice? What kind of a voice is it? Maybe it's a whisper. Here's what I propose. Your new beginning cannot happen in the construct of the way things are right now. It needs to come from a deeper place. Power of pure presence is one catalyst or medium to usher that in. However, it could come from a major catastrophe, trauma, or problem in your life. Why? Because for some of us, it's the one thing that gets our attention. It's when the construct of what we've created in our mind seems to get destroyed overnight. Everything we thought that was is no more. And the best metaphor I have for you is the forest fires. I'll have to do another show maybe we'll do a show in the redwood forest at some point. It's a great intention. That'll happen. It's going to happen. Many of you know that when the forest fires hit, there's all kinds of hidden benefits. Forest fires on the surface are devastating, destruction. But if we dig a little deeper, they create a vacuum and a void. When a forest fire hits, it burns away all the underbrush. It allows sunlight to get to areas that have been deprived of sunlight. It naturally creates more nutrients in the soil below. It heats up the trees in some cases that forces them to drop new seedlings. It also, ironically, and here's the paradox, prevents much larger forest fires from happening later. And this is why you hear many times they do controlled burns. They do controlled burns in the great forests so that it infuses all these benefits, but also prevents greater fires from happening later. So in the midst of seeming catastrophe, there's something miraculous taking place. As it may be with your life right now, if it seems like everything is burning down, I'm not suggesting you feel better about it, because that would not be real. What I am suggesting is that you become consciously aware that the process has value and meaning. The life you thought was may be burning down, but that's the only way to usher in new. And sometimes it burns down because we are resistant to change. We want the wave to stay as it is, but it can't. It must crash to the shore and recede. Let me grab the next thing. I want you to pause and breathe for a moment. Just let this marinate. I know this is kind of a deep dive, but to me it's necessary. So I'm going to stand up. I want to grab a reading for you. Just take another moment to pause and breathe and see if you can just embrace this moment. Hear the sound of the waves. Look off into the distance as far as your eye can see. Notice what's happening in your body right now. And then I'm going to come back with a reading for you. Just trust whatever showed up in that moment. Just trust it. Maybe you want to type it in if something's coming through for you. I welcome you to type it in. That's an insight that you can share in the chat. And it may have an impact on someone else that's listening. At this point, we have people listening from all over the world. We want to welcome our Roku audience in, our Amazon Fire TV audience, Facebook, YouTube. I welcome you in today and welcome you to it could be called a spiritual place. It may not be. It's just relative to your journey. But I did get a download on the spiritual side of this, and I thought spiritual awakening does not happen with overthinking. Spiritual awakening transcends the concept of the mind. And even in the religious community, not everybody, we can be identified with the concepts that are written. But the spirit transcends concepts. It transcends the mind. And so does your new beginning. So let me read this to you. This is another part of the Thich Nhat Hanh peace cards. This is a thing that will help with this. It's called the heart of life. The heart of life. When you look at the nature of things with concentration, you discover that they are all impermanent. Everything is constantly changing. Nothing has a permanent identity. This impermanence is not a negative thing. Impermanence is the very heart of life. It makes life possible. reject impermanence and you reject life. It is because of impermanence that everything is possible. Wow. Our hope lies in impermanence. Let me read the last two sentences again. It is because of impermanence that everything is possible. Our hope lies in impermanence. The only thing I would add to that, if I could make it even more real, is that our hope doesn't lie in impermanence. It relies in our ability to accept impermanence as the necessary ingredient for our growth. And we go, when I do the live, we're going to be doing Flashpoint Live 5.0, which is a live immersion manifesting the moment of your big breakthrough. And I'm going to talk more about this for the next one, about how we can become more consciously aware and embrace this aspect of life, because it is one of the most challenging things for us. Relationships change, people change, everything's in a state of change, and we can be like sad about that. But the moment we accept it, is a beautiful surrender, and then we allow the opening. We allow the opening of the next beautiful thing. And I want to give you a little bonus here today, because relationships are a big part of our lives. So I'm going to read this, and then we're going to go into a closing sequence. And I want to invite you to share, because what I want to do today is, as we close out the show, I want to create a period where we're just have your shares, because this can evoke a lot. This can evoke, and maybe you've gotten in touch with that truest part of yourself, that deeper part of yourself today, just through this show. Why? That's possible. So if something's coming up, I want to invite you to share it. Put it in the chat if you're listening real time. If you're on listening to a playback, perhaps you want to write it in a journal so you can capture it. Okay. Okay. This is another card that I want to share. It's called Healing Wrong Perceptions. Healing Wrong Perceptions, and maybe we'll do a show on this for the next show. Maybe we can do that. So let's see how this plays out. All the energies of anger, hatred, fear, and violence come from wrong perceptions. Wrong perceptions result in a lot of anger, mistrust, suspicion, hate, and even terrorism. You cannot remove wrong perceptions through punishment. You have to do it with the tools of deep and compassionate listening and loving speech. These practices can help to build harmony, can remove discrimination, and can bring about the kind of insight that will be liberating to our country and to our people. I just felt led to share that today. I know it's a little bit deviating from the main topic, but if you want me to do a show on this, where we do something on relationships and perceptions, we can certainly do that. So that would be, your feedback would be welcome here for that. So I'm going to pause right now. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. I'm going to create some space for your shares. We may share a bonus video inside of this. I'll pan around here. We'll give you some extra, because this show is about presence. It's about content and no content. So I'm going to step out of the frame here. I want to invite you to share. I'll give another shout out to our sponsor, Duchess DJ Love, gallivanting like a royal. And she's going to be in the green room here as well. She's been sharing your chats. So just give her some love today, is for helping out with the show and being a part of another episode that has already touched my heart and my soul. Just being here in this space and just sharing with you. And even though this is recorded, I can still feel that the energy that this is going to evoke in you as you move forward with your journey. I'm honored that you're here. I'm honored that you found this show if you're here for the first time. I welcome you in. So let's just allow whatever's going to take place over the next few minutes. Let's just allow it, and then I'll come back to say goodbye and just wish you a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the rest of the programming here. Thank you so much for being here today. God bless. Remember, the deepest part of you is always there underneath the thinking, and that you can reconnect to that deepest part of yourself anytime. Through breath, you can live in a state of parasympathetic mode more often, which is rest, refresh, digest. And that overthinking is not the way. Power of pure presence is. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.